Instead of just nagging or just hoping to live a better life, I just figured out I'll make it on my own hands. And when I figured out it wasn't working out, I just figured, okay, I might just sell it. But the problem was I was still a student. Who would hand a kid 5,000, 6,000? Who would hand a kid 1,000 dirhams out of thin air and expect something in return? You get me? So it was very hard convincing people that I am not my age. And I've always believed that I am more mature than my age. I've always heard that myself.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Junior Gladiator Kidpreneurs, where we interview young kidpreneurs about their prospective businesses. And today I have a very interesting young man in the studio. He is only 16 years old. He is a serial entrepreneur. He has multiple businesses, one of which I am wearing today, which is Valor Gear. And he is called Vrimo Milad. So welcome to the studio, Vrimo.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's really a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
I think as far as young junior gladiators go, we've had lots of junior gladiators in the studio that are running a business or a project, but you are, I guess, the most experienced entrepreneur because you've got lots and lots of different businesses that you're involved in.
Yeah.
So before we dive into those, just please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and why you wanted to go into entrepreneurship.
All right. So my name is Vrimo Milad. I'm from Egypt and Lebanon. I started entrepreneurship since I was 13. I started my first mechanical keyboards company, and I sold it for a guy in America for a good amount. And with that amount, I started Valor. And with that, I started Valor Gear, which is a clothing brand, and we supply clothing and everything. 2 years post that, we started Valor Studios alongside my partner Hisham. And we do photography and videography services. And lately this year, we started the podcast show, Valor Talks, where every season we invite different genres of people, whether it's doctors, boxers in general. So that's summarizing it up.
Incredible. So you started your first business at 13.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the first year of secondary school,
Sort of, yeah. Yeah, 3 years ago, currently I'm in 11th grade.
Okay.
So 10, 9, 8, I was in 8th grade. Yeah.
13. I love that. I always feel really inspired by young people that are getting into business because school teaches us to get an education, go to university, get a job. But when I see young people that want to step away from that norm and do something for themselves, I think that's great. So why? Why did you at 13 decide to start your own business?
I mean, I live in a family that's, average, wealth-wise. So I wouldn't really call myself struggling as a 13-year-old or even my family situations. But at the same time, there were some points in my life where I wanted to go out in some specific places because my group of friends were all based on above average when it comes to income or whatever. So places that we would hang out were very expensive in some sort. So it was very rare for me to go out with my friends. So instead of just nagging or just hoping to live a better life, I just figured out I'll make it on my own hands. So I took matters in my own hands and I started this brand, and it didn't work out, the one with the mechanical keyboards. And when I figured out it wasn't working out, I just figured, okay, I might just sell it, instead of just ending it and then wasting all these years it was for 1 year. So technically now it's 12 and a half. So yeah, so when I took that and I sold it with the money I made, I was very shocked. That was the biggest amount I ever made. I made roughly around 3,000 dirhams.
Which 12. Is a lot
for a 12-year-old. Yeah, you're like, oh, I made millions. I'm rich. I've reached. So
I can retire.
Yeah, I wanted to retire, but thankfully my dad is very good with money management. So he told me, no, you got to keep this money, put this and that. You want to invest, you want to help with the bills. And from that, we thought together that we needed to reinvest the money. So instead of just being happy that I made this much money and just putting them in needs, might as well just put a bit of money about to just make more. So that's where I came with the idea of Valor. And the logo, which is the Spartans, came from the name itself, which means bravery and courage in Old Latin. So when you go back to Spartans and Latin, it's all related to courage and bravery and all type of stuff related to that. So when I started Valor Gear, which is a clothing company, the first client I ever got, actually it's a clothing brand. It's not a factory. We sell our own design t-shirts, but until this day, no one bought any single branded clothing from us. Every single order of ours was all custom.
Okay.
So we figured we would shift the business from being just a clothing brand selling our own designs into selling customized merchandise for whether it's events, companies, corporations, or even individuals. So we turned that idea around 2 years ago, 1 year after we started Valor, and it wasn't working out and I was losing hope in some way. So the first client I got was a friend of mine from church, and she invited me over for a company. That was the first time I entered an office, an actual business office in my life. It was in Dubai Science Parks. I worked with a company, and they had two options. It was me and another professional company. And so, to my surprise, 24 hours after the meeting, after they got the samples, they figured they want to work with me. They like the quality, they like the professionalism in the meeting, and they pointed that out. And they didn't know my age back then. They knew my age after we landed the deal.
Incredible. Had they met you?
Yeah,
Or
we
was
went.
this all done via
Yeah,
telephone?
no,
and
it
so-
was face to face. We went to
Okay.
the meeting itself in the office. I drove all the way from Sharjah with my father. That was the first time. So we came from Sharjah all the way to Dubai Science Parks, which is like 15-minute drive. So we were hoping it would work out just for the sake of gas.
Yeah, and the time.
Yeah, and the
right?
time, yeah.
It's a
So-
2-hour round trip there and back.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. So we were very happy when they landed the job and the deal. And I delivered them successfully, and they were very happy with the clothing. And from then, I figured, let me take it forward. With the help of some people, and surprisingly, it was strangers, not people I know. From the help of strangers, that's where I reached right now.
Incredible. What a story. And you're still only 16.
Yeah, I'm 16.
You've probably achieved more in these teeny weeny years than most entrepreneurs do in a decade. And there's a few points in that story that I want to touch on in a while. But just going back to, I want to go back to when you were 13. So you've got mum and dad, or 12 and a half you were. You've got mum and dad, and you say, hey, listen, I want to get into entrepreneurship. Did either mum or dad have any experience in entrepreneurship?
No, none of my family members have anything to do with business.
Okay, so how did they respond to that? Did they encourage you? Were they negative about your ideas? What was their feedback?
They were very encouraging, but the problem was I was still a student.
Mm.
So to them, it was more important to them for me to focus on my studies than focus on upgrading my business in any way. But at the same time, they were very happy that I'm working, and they were very happy at this age I am trying my best, even to help the bills or whatever. So that really affected them themselves positively, that they were happy.
I see this a lot with families. So especially when it's the child that's involved in a business, suddenly all the family members get involved for this same common cause, and it really does bring everybody together.
Yeah.
And I love that about entrepreneurship, because in a traditional family, you might have, one son that enjoys football, one son that enjoys cricket, or a daughter that's doing something else. So everybody's fragmented and doing their own thing. But when it's a common cause, like a business idea, the whole family tends to get involved. That's incredible. So mum and dad were supportive. That's a big thing.
Yeah, they were supportive. That's the positive thing. I mean, I've seen people who are my age who try, and they're not receiving positive sides from their parents, which sort of keeps me sad from the inside. Like I wish they were in my place in this point where they had the same support I had.
That was my story growing up.
Really?
I was always an entrepreneur as a child. I always had this entrepreneurial spirit. I had the support from my mum, but never from my dad. And I think that's one of the reasons I love doing this with young people now, is to say, you've got this.
Yeah, you've got this.
You can do this. We believe in you. We've got hope in you.
I mean, it's people like you who actually give people a chance. I mean, if 2-3 years ago, I didn't meet you, I didn't know you back then. So people who started where I started was rough for them. But with your help and like what you do on your program, you actually help people grow and start off in a good start, so it doesn't go very rough. But at the end of the day, business will have rough waves.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, that's part of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, but it's better to start off with people who know what they're doing than to start off in thin air.
Amazing. And I think also for young people, when young people look at me, for example, they think, oh, she's so old. My kids call me a dinosaur. But when young people look at someone like yourself, you're just 16, you're on that wavelength. I've spoken to so many kids that say, oh, okay, if he can do it and he's 16 or 14 or 15, then that's also available to me. You're much more relatable to the young people.
That's my mission in some way. When I enter teenage years, which are very advanced, 14, 15, and 16, there's some common problems that are going on in this country, especially. It's a term that people my age call chamaks. I don't know if you heard about that term.
I have, because I've got kids that are 16. So yes, they do. They talk about that at school.
Yeah. So this is one of the main reasons why I'm still going.
Okay.
Despite having very rough stages in my business, going forward just to have an impact on people my age, is the main reason.
Amazing.
I try my best to cancel this so-called term, and it's sort of wannabe gangsters, if you know what I mean. So it's very
And it is a
disgusting.
difficult age because you're trying to find yourself, you're trying to find your place in the world, and there's so much going on mentally through those development years. And there's pressure to do well in your exams, pressure to do well in your family, in your environment,
Socially.
to find who you are.
Yeah.
Socially. Incredible. So tell me about, we've done the business from being 13, this business that you sold. Why did you decide to go into apparel? And by the way, this is one of their t-shirts that I am wearing today, which I love, and it looks fabulous.
Thank you.
This is office/casual, and it works really well. So thank you for this.
You're more than welcome.
And I love your designs. I think they're great. And it's interesting because when we first saw the brand, I don't know if Dariush explained the story to you, but we came across your brand online and we saw the logo. And of course,
that's what attracted you guys.
It
logo.
was.
Yeah.
We said, oh, somebody else is doing gladiators. Who is this person? And then we started to dig into who was behind the brand. And then Dariush said, he looks like a kid. I went, oh, this is amazing. If he's just young, we can get him in for a podcast if he's a kidpreneur. So I was super excited because, of course, it's our brand and you're only 16. So the whole thing just seemed to work really, really well.
We match, we connect. Yeah.
100%. And we'd never met. Like, we didn't know what you were doing and you didn't know us. So the whole synergy was there. And I also want to say at this point that we did give you a huge order for the Gladiator Summit that we've got coming up. So you are our head designer and head manufacturer now for all of our apparel for the event. So I'm very excited about that.
I'm very happy. It's a pleasure.
You and me both.
It's an
I'm really
honor.
happy. And congratulations to you for nailing that deal because it's a big deal.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really surprised that I actually I was actually in a family friend's house when I opened my Instagram account on my brand's page. And I opened the DMs and I saw there was a message from someone called Mr. Dariush Saudi.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very confused. Usually I get always like these bot messages or whatever, sort of like LinkedIn, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I opened it and he sent me a message. He's like, hey, this is my brand. Let's chat and see if we can work together. So I opened his profile and my heart started like, and you just feel the heartbeats going faster and faster and faster. And I was very excited and I was like, yeah, sure, what's up? Let's talk. And I sensed that he was very professional in this manner. Because in my field, I worked with lots of family friends and at the same time, very little amount of strangers or clients, like 100% clients. So talking in 100% professional manner was sort of new to me. Because I'm usually working with people who are half business, half friends. Casual, yeah. So I was like, okay, I can't mess this up. I have to talk very professional. I have to sit like this. And he's like, come to my office. And he told me come to my office 1 month prior.
Okay.
I was like, okay, 1 month of stress. Let's go.
You're nervous all that
I was
time.
very nervous. I was excited. I was nervous
Of
because
course.
if he contacted me, I am sure something's going to go well. Because there's no way someone like Mr. Dariush would contact me and then end up not coming anything out of me. Because he wouldn't contact me if he didn't believe in me or trust me in any way. So when he told me he wanted to work with Valor for the Gladiator Summit, I was like, I'd love to. It was an honor. And ever since we announced the collaboration on Instagram from Valor Gear and Gladiator Summit, and since then, I'm hoping November 16 and 17.
And we'll have you there at the event too.
Of course.
And of course, you'll have a stand there promoting your businesses. So we'll talk about that later. But no, we are very, very proud of you and we're very happy to have this collaboration with you. So why apparel then? What was it about fashion that you thought? Because that's a big difference from before, I guess, more of an engineering type product to now going into fashion. Why fashion?
Okay, so two reasons or two paths. One path, which is a very small path, my dad's an Egyptian, and stereotype in Egyptians is they don't know how to dress. And my father is the one person that knows.
I think you may just have lost an awful lot of fans there, by the way, that are watching this podcast.
I don't mean
insulted the entire Egyptian community.
I don't mean anything offensive, but I don't mean anything offensive at all. But my father is the number one person who knows how to dress well.
Oh, okay.
He's very fashionable. Mm-hmm. So, and at the same time, I have a skin condition. It's called atopic dermatitis.
Okay.
I cannot wear polyester. I cannot wear specific materials because I get rashes and my skin gets red. So my skin doctor told me that I have to wear 100% original cotton, not polymix, which is mixed. Mm-hmm. So when I went to stores to buy clothes, because I sort of got overweight back then when I was a kid. So I went to buy clothes and I want to get new clothes. And I entered the shops and the ones very limited 100% cottons, and even if there were, they were expensive. And even if they were expensive or affordable, they were very sort of demonic designs at the back. And I'm a very religious person, so I take care of what I wear and I take care of what I say, and that's just me. So seeing skulls and upside down crosses, and most of them are all black T-shirts, I was like,
But depressing.
very depressing. It's very negative, and spiritually, it's very very negative on your life. So I decided, why not just find a way to make them my own, and hopefully there are other people out there like me, so why not just make it something big for others.
You see, I love that, because that really is the essence of entrepreneurship. It's finding a problem in the field and then finding the solution to that problem, which is exactly what you've done. So all of your all your T-shirts, your hoodies, they're all 100% cotton.
100% cotton, and we are the first factory to actually make 100% original cotton in the UAE. Manufactured in the UAE.
I love that. Which was one of my questions. What's your USP? Well, I guess you've just answered that question.
Yeah, it's in the UAE.
That's what sets you aside. I hate all these chemical clothing.
Exactly.
And I'm very anti-chemicals in my home, my cleaning products, what my kids wear. So I honor that. And I think as people become more aware of, especially things like fast fashion, the high polluting products that are going in the waste, they're hard to decompose. So this is a really nice product to bring in to this whole climate change and being better to the environment.
We have recycled as well. We have recycled cotton, and it's all made from recycled T-shirts, and it's from our T-shirts themselves. So we make the recycled cotton, we make the cotton, then we recycle it, and then we make recycled cotton. Something similar for like the giving movement.
Yes, yeah.
But the difference is we actually make them recyclable.
Well, and also you're a local company, and you're young, so we all want to support young entrepreneurs that are coming up to do good.
And I appreciate it.
I'd much rather support somebody like yourself than these big organizations that are just all about profits, right? This is your passion, it's your dream, it's everything going into this.
It's always against I'm just going with my mission, which is just trying to stop this whole trend that's going on with teenagers in this age, which is making them wear something colorful, making them wear something that looks good. They're not just copying others.
Of course. And it's better for the body.
Exactly.
We're not surrounding ourselves with things that are harmful.
Exactly.
So 16 years old. I mean, I know I got into entrepreneurship when I was in my early 20s. And I thought around 24, I started my first business. And I really thought that I knew everything until I started a business. And I realized I knew absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But even then at 24, I thought that I was quite mature. I realized that actually I had a lot to learn. But at 16, I mean, you're so mature and wise. Where does that come from, this maturity?
I believe it's from my father. I mean, I take him as a big role model when it comes to wisdom. And, in business, you lose a lot of people when you grow.
True.
And that's very true. And I've only had 2 people on my side since I started, and that's my father.
4 now, by the way, and the whole team outside.
And I'm really happy because of that. But since I started, I've only had my father and God, and that's all that matters to me at this point.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But I do think that at least having someone behind you from the family is a huge thing, because you do fall. You fall, you get disappointed, there are challenges. Business is all about challenges, right? So to have someone, a mentor or a guide that can be there to help you through those challenges is a huge thing.
Yeah, I believe
what have been the main challenges that you've faced? Not in terms of the business itself, but being such a young entrepreneur and not having life experiences. What do you think's been the hardest thing for you to run a business?
I think it's my age. I mean, this is new. The whole mustache thing and the very visible beard is new. So before that.
So before that, you were really baby faced.
Yeah, very, and it was very difficult trying to convince people to pay me in thousands. You get me? Who would hand a kid 5,000, 6,000? Who would hand a kid 1,000 dirhams out of thin air and expect something in return? You get me? So it's very hard convincing people that I am not my age, and I've always believed that I am more mature than my age, and I've always heard that myself. So I think the age is one of the biggest problems or challenges that I had.
Isn't it funny? Because being on the other side of that, being more middle-aged, you would think that being younger is a huge advantage. You've got more energy, you've got more ideas.
Yes, that's the positive side. Yeah. I mean, being 16 is very good now for me, because now I have the energy to move around the entire UAE, even travel the world if I need to.
Of course.
And having no big responsibilities on my back, and it would reduce the risk of stress and failure.
Yeah, and I think I really see that as a positive for young entrepreneurs, because as you get, we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs of all different ages, and there's many people out there that want to start a business, but they're afraid to because they have a mortgage and they have kids and they don't
Yeah,
want to take that risk. So if you can learn those lessons when you're young, when you do not have those financial responsibilities,
it's easier when you grow.
it's much easier, yes. So when you obviously get older, you've learned the mistakes and what to do the right way and what not to do, so that it's not such a scary risk when, you know,
Yeah,
you've
you're
got
right.
those financial constraints later on.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, now I'm 16 and I have just lately I've had people who are 40 and 30 trying to get me as a partner in their business just to do the arms work. I mean,
Mm.
I had someone come up to me yesterday and they said, "You're the muscles, I'm the brains. You in?" And I've had lots of offers like that, but I always rejected them because I always want to focus on my own brand until I reach the stage where I am not the one who's doing everything. You
Hmm.
get me? I mean, as you guys are doing now, you guys have a full team running your business.
But it
So
wasn't like that in the beginning.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's very difficult to manage everything. I mean, me owning 3 businesses at 16 and trying to open 2 more before the end of this year is very hard.
Of
So focusing
course.
on something that isn't mine is very stressful. You get me?
Well, you've got to also decide where you put your attention.
Exactly.
And that has to be something that obviously now you've already got your own businesses. So to dilute that time and then focus on things that are not yours
Yeah.
wouldn't really make good business sense for you.
True. I mean, even now I'm 16 and I'm supposed to hang out. I'm supposed to have outings, like live my teenage age.
Mm.
But it's two factors that deny me from doing that is that I want to keep the way I'm doing. I want to stay on the same path. At the same time, I'm trying whatever income I have is keep them whether to help the house or help myself
Hmm.
and not just spend them on fun. And I completely agree that people my age have to have fun. That's part of our nature. Even when you grow older, fun plays a good part in
Of
life.
course, yeah, we have to
But
enjoy.
but I'm the type of person that if I get pulled into something, it's gonna be very hard to pull back.
Okay.
So I always stay far away from that side, which is outings and going out a lot and stuff like that, because that's very money taking and time and energy taking.
So what do you do? Because there is always a risk with entrepreneurship. Once we get sucked in, it becomes all consuming.
Yeah.
But we do have to have balance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can do that for so long and then we get burnt out. So how do you have downtime? What do you do for yourself to switch off from business and just enjoy yourself, have fun, hobbies?
I mean, you're right. The more you get consumed in, the more burnt out you become. And that's happened to me a lot in what I'm trying to do. Because, a very important part is also our financial status. So that plays a very good role when it comes to me wanting to go do whatever I want, whether it's hobbies or not. But lately, if I have any free time or if I'm available to do anything, I'd rather choose out and go out with people I love and just do simple things, whether it's go for lunch or go for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's basically just 2, 3 people I know so far, and that's the only people I go out with. So I just try to keep it as simple as possible so that I don't over exceed and just don't turn off business in my head.
But then you could have business friends. You can have other entrepreneur friends where you can go out, have fun, but you can talk about the quality of the conversations is high.
You're
So you're
right,
learning
but
from each
but
other.
with the people I've met who are entrepreneurs, besides Mr. Dayush, I don't mean anything. People I've met, no matter how old they are, they always look down on me since I'm 16.
Mm.
So, and I clearly noticed that from far away. So I always try to not lean in very much and just try to back off. So yeah.
Do you have any people in your network that are entrepreneurs young, so junior
My age.
entrepreneurs? Yes.
I mean, we have Adam Medine, a Virgin Radio host. I mean, I love that guy.
I love Adam too. He knows I call him, I say I'm your Dubai mom. I adore him. So he knows how much I love him. But yes,
I
of
met him
course.
less than 6 months ago.
He's just a great
Yeah,
guy.
and he's the youngest guy who actually knows what he's doing that I
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Amazing. We need to introduce you to Kyan, our oldest son. So he's 16 too.
I'd love to.
He's a vlogger. They've been vlogging
Really?
now for the past, well, they came about 4 years ago and said, oh, we want to open a YouTube channel, him and his brother. And I said, absolutely not. There's no way my kids are going to be on YouTube all day long. But actually I said, okay, go away, come back in 6 months with a business plan. And if you're still serious in 6 months, then we'll talk about it. Thinking they would never come back. They did. 6 months later.
Ambition.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
ambitious. They had a whole business plan. They had a strategy, what kind of content they wanted to create, how often they wanted to post. So we started slowly. And now, I mean, Kyan's 16. He's got his own editors, his content writers, and he's running his, vlogging
I'd love
business.
to meet him, actually. I'd love to.
We need to get you guys together because I think there'd be a really nice synergy there. Also, I think with young people, they need mentors, but they need mentors that they can relate to.
Exactly.
I'd love to have mastermind group for teenagers where people like yourself can come with other teenagers, brainstorm ideas, learn from each other, because it is quite lonely.
Yeah, it's very lonely in my age because you see people who are. That's also one of the challenges, by the way. It's being very lonely in your field because you're always choosing not to go out and follow these groups of friends, no matter what they're doing is good or wrong, and you're just always alone in your room, So yeah, and one of the things that I challenge with is actually the relationships that happen in these teenage ages, and that's a messed up thing in my opinion. I've had a public speech once about it, and I got an award for it.
Really?
Yeah, because it was really impactful, and it's true. I'm totally against teenage dating. The whole idea of kids wanting to, since childhood, watching these TV shows all about Disney and love and not love, and that's all good, but it's very early. And
True.
yeah, and the whole idea of dating is all messed up in these days and age. So I always try my best to fight against it. And you can't say something against a group of everyone your age. You're like one out of a pool of fishes. You get
then
me?
it just becomes you singled out.
Exactly. So that's very difficult for me as well. You're just saying something against
I agree
everyone.
with you. I think for young people in business, it is difficult. For us, there's lots of women networking events, business events, mixed events for adults.
Yeah.
But I don't see that. I think there is a bit of a gap in the market where young people can come together and inspire each other and learn from each other. That could be something we could do together.
That has to happen.
Junior Gladiator mastermind groups.
That has to be
with
done.
Valor. How about that?
I'd love to.
There you go.
I'd love to.
Joint collaboration.
Of course, I'd love to.
That would be great. So where do you see... Let's talk about Valor for a little bit.
Okay.
Valor is really not just the fashion. I mean, that's the brand, isn't it?
It's a corporation.
Exactly. Yeah. We've got the fashion, the apparel. We've also got the podcasting. You've got your design. Where do you see this brand going? What is your vision for where you want to take the brand?
Okay, and lately this year I decided to turn Valor, rather than just having 3 businesses with the same name lying around, is actually to build a corporation, a family name, and call it Valor Corporations. And that's an announcement. Nice. This is the first time I'm announcing that. So
that deserves a little round of applause. Let me put my thing down. Round of applause. Amazing.
Thank you. It's a Valor Corporation. So my idea is, and my plan is, to open every single industry in the world under the name of Valor. For example, you have clothing, you have Valor Gear, you have studio, you have Valor Studios, you have a podcast, you have Valor Talks. So every single industry with the word Valor that starts in the end, and then the industry name in the second.
Okay.
That's my vision.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what's next, or is that confidential at the moment? Do we know?
It's not really confidential. It's sort of in the process. I'm not really sure about it,
Okay.
I'm working on Valor Donations, charity organization.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to speak anything against the current charity organizations, but you need something that's more of all of it. Because you see charity organizations and they're all focusing on one group. And it's like, for example, the UNICEF focuses on all, but it's just UNICEF. You get me? And UNICEF can't really handle every single charity spot that's needed in the world.
True.
And
that's a very ambitious plan to open a charity that covers everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every single country, not just the ones that need it. Every country in the world has people that need help.
Of course.
So it has nothing to do with the country in general, because you have people like in Dubai themselves.
Even here, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that need help. So that has nothing to do with the status of the country. That's just what I'm trying to work on. It's a bit difficult because it's going to include lots of governmental stuff, but I'm trying.
I think that'll be your biggest challenge, probably.
Sort of, maybe, yeah.
Are you still studying then? Are you still at school? I don't know your personal situation. Have you left school already?
No.
Okay.
I'm completely against people who speak against school.
Okay.
Because school is the skeleton.
Okay.
The school is the skeleton of every human body. It's not, you can't live alone with the school without anything outside of it. At the same time, vice versa. You cannot stay out of school.
So are you still studying?
Yes, I'm in 11th grade right now.
Oh, 11th grade. So you've got 11, and 11 is your final year?
No, it's junior. There's one more, senior.
And then you go to senior, and that's 2 years.
Yeah, and then that's college after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do when you go to university or college? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I've chosen my major. I've chosen the university already.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Already?
yeah.
Of course you have.
I mean, I love the university. I'm planning to go to American University of Sharjah,
Okay.
AUS, and actually, my passion is not business. I love business, but I'm planning to take forward cinematography and directory and filmography.
Okay.
So I want to go multimedia in AUS. That's my plan.
But I like that because I think I speak to so many young people and they're so lost,
Yeah,
especially at your age, sort of 15, 16, 17. They don't really know what they want to do because nobody's actually said, what is your passion?
exactly.
What do you feel passionate about? What are you daydreaming about? What do you get excited about? So they kind of fall into this, okay, I'm not quite sure what to do,
They
so I'll
always
just do
give
this.
they give them a sheet. In my school, they give high school a sheet of names of universities and options,
True.
and they tell them pick one.
Yes.
So that's kind of out of the box, and you know what they say, think outside the box, and that's what I'm trying to tell people, think outside the box. I mean, as long as it's logical,
Of course.
as long as it's logical, but at the same time, don't be very limited, and don't. I'm telling people, don't limit people. Give them the freedom to choose. I mean, we live in a world with endless possibilities,
Of course.
especially in a country like United Arab Emirates. We're in a place where freedom of growth is huge. You know,
And it's so innovative
Yeah.
and there's so much developing here.
exactly.
It's interesting because there was a careers talk at my son's school. So he's in the English system. And they were choosing what they wanted to select for college moving forward. So they finished high school, they're going into college.
Okay.
And there was a company there, they were giving out these like little flashcards with different careers on that kids
Yeah.
could go to. And there was lots of really innovative career choices like AI developer, there was cyberspace masters, there was even a space cleaner, so people can actually go out to space and clean up all this debris in space.
Wow. Okay.
But there was about 32 cards in this pack, but not one of them was about entrepreneurship, running your own business.
Yeah,
or
that's something
developing
that's
a
something I've
project.
witnessed. Yeah.
Which I thought was quite sad, really, because it was almost gearing people to say, okay, from here you will have to have a job, not really being free thinking and thinking, okay, maybe education is not what I want to do next. Maybe I
Yeah.
do want to open my own business or start my own project. So I hope to see a little bit more of that changing in schools where they do
I hope so too.
bring in more entrepreneurs, and people like yourself can help with that.
I'd love to.
Because you're young and you're obviously already running your own business and you're successful. So it is available. It doesn't have to be to finish your education, work in employment, and then become an entrepreneur,
Yeah,
which I think is
that's
the
what the
mindset
idea.
now.
It's the mindset. At the same time, I totally speak against the ideology of leave school and focus on business and leave the 9 to 5 job. That's a mentality. It's a propaganda that's going around right now, and I'm totally against that. But I am also against the idea of going 9 to 5 jobs as the number one option. You know, I mean, it can be worst case scenario at this point, you know, like you have to, if business doesn't work out, then you have a degree, so that's why you have a job, you know, but I don't want that to be the target for the world. At the same time, the world cannot be filled with entrepreneurs at this
It cannot, no, of course.
So you're gonna have to have some workers in life, and there's no shame in that at all.
But even then, I think even being in employment, be an employee of something that you feel passionate about.
Exactly.
As well.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where the misconception of, okay, I've got to follow this life path. And obviously I'm much older than you, so I speak to many people my age, 40s, 50s, 60s, that then say, I've just realized that I've spent the last 20, 30, 40 years of my life doing something that I actually don't enjoy because nobody asked me. I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. I didn't want that responsibility, but I wish I'd done something that made a difference, that made me feel happy, not thinking, okay, I'll do this for the next 10 years and I'll retire and enjoy my life. You know, actually do something that you feel excited about.
I mean, that's what you have to do in life, because then, as you said, if you get too consumed in what you're doing, then you're gonna rot yourself, your inner
Well, you
self.
die inside a little
Yeah,
bit
you
every
die
day.
because then you lose the passion, you lose the ambition, you lose the love for what you're doing, and that lasts for years.
Of
That
course.
anti-loss love lasts for years, and that can affect you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And people around you as well.
Exactly.
So who do you seek inspiration from? I know, of course, you've mentioned your dad.
Yeah.
And dad is a great mentor for you and a great support for you. But outside of him, if you were to sit and learn from other entrepreneurs or business leaders or thought leaders, who are they?
I mean, lately it's Mr. Darius Saudi. That's when I actually got to meet him so we started chatting, because he's one of the actual people that give people a chance in Dubai. Dubai is very hard to get into anything. There are options, but it's very hard to enter them. It's not easy,
It's
especially
hard
for
when you're
people my age.
younger because they don't really
Exactly,
advocate. I think business
exactly,
licenses now you can get from the age of 18. So
exactly.
they're still not quite there in terms of this young entrepreneurship and giving you a
Exactly. So
chance
it's very
to.
difficult. So Mr. Dariush is one of those people that I actually look forward to. But at the same time, I don't really have role models in
Okay.
anything. Because at the end of the day, if I have gonna have a role model in life, that means I agree or want to live how they live. And at the same time, every human has something going on with them that isn't positive. I don't like the word role model.
Okay,
You
we'll
get me?
change it then.
Yeah.
I'll change it to who would you look to gain wisdom and experience from
Besides my father,
besides your father
as I told you, I'm very.
and not Mr. Dariush?
No, you
Beside
trapped me.
those two,
You trapped me. Okay.
beside those two, who would you look at and think, okay, they've got some really valuable wisdom in terms of business or spirituality or just general life? Because for me, I believe that we learn from people that have gone through things before
Exactly.
us. So it's that deep wisdom that you get when you go through experiences and you live life in different fields or different sectors. So who do you feel would be someone that you say, okay, they've achieved a certain amount, whether it be personally, in business, spiritually, and I feel that they've got wisdom that is of value to me and they're worth my time to listen to or to learn from?
Business side, I have no one. But when it comes to personal or life or wisdom, as I told you, I'm very religious. So it's my pastor.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a person I look up to when it comes to wisdom. Not because he's religious, because logically speaking, he's very wise. And he's gone through a lot.
Okay.
So based on his testimonies, I can actually take into my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but business, no one.
Not really, no.
Do you watch? I know you have your own podcast and you're amazing at doing what you
Thank
do
you
in
very
terms
much.
of that. But do you watch? Are you interested in other podcasts, business podcasts or spiritual podcasts? Do you watch anything like that?
Not really, but I do read books. Very limited though. I don't really like books very much, but I read them where if it's educational,
Okay.
not as a hobby. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that's a
Robert
very known book.
Kiyosaki.
Yeah, so that's a very known book. So when it comes to business and if it comes to any financial inspiration, yeah, maybe it can come to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to financial then. Financial education, financial literacy. Who's taught you how to manage your money?
My father.
Your dad.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think that, and this is a big question, but why do you think that there's not more education from schools when it comes to young people managing finances?
I mean, I think it's nothing actually like as a target that they have. I think it's just because based on all these generations and centuries that we've had education, back then there wasn't, kids used to work in factories back then. So really having such topic in education wasn't really important or useful. So I think the problem with schools is that they follow what they've done. They
From
don't,
past,
yeah. And even if they try to do something new, they don't do it the right way. That's what makes it, that's how they ruin it in some way. So I don't think it's someone that is purposely trying not to mention financials in subjects in schools. But at the same time, they're very lazy in that part where they don't want to upgrade. They just want to expand, but they don't want to grow.
Do you find that, thank you, by the way, for that. It was a great answer. Do you believe that, or do you think that if you didn't have your dad as a guide to help you financially? Because I think that when it comes to financial literacy and financial awareness, it's not just kids that we all need that.
Yeah.
There's so much debt right now in the world. Debt is one of the biggest stresses right now, where people are literally, committing suicide over debts and drowning in this whole field.
Yeah.
Yet there isn't really a lot of help and support to say, okay, let's talk about money. Money is very much a taboo topic, but it's energy, right?
Exactly.
And we need it to survive. So how can we approach this topic of finances with young people so that when they are growing and earning money, they know how to manage that properly?
My plan is, and my idea is, stop making paid courses. You get me?
For financial knowledge.
Yes, because that ruins someone. At the same time, don't make it so free so it sounds so cheap. You get what I'm trying to say? For example, now you see lots of courses on social media that are trying to sell you how to make money or how to manage your money, and they're all paid courses. And even the ones that are free they're not really certified. They're just someone who lives in his house who doesn't know what he's doing and made a couple of bucks on gaming or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? So there aren't really certified people who do that. And even if they are, it's always paid. Yeah, I mean, so if there's someone struggling with money management or even financial statements or whatever, having them pay money to learn how to manage their money isn't something that they're gonna love or go forward with it. We're gonna need something that's sort of non-profit of some sort, where you have to go forward and make something that's for free for everyone, at the same time professional and certified. You get me?
Yeah, giving education and giving knowledge.
Exactly.
I do think schools are getting a little bit better with this.
A bit.
A little bit.
A
They're
bit.
kind of teetering with
But
the
it varies
ideas.
with schools. I mean, I'm in Sharjah, and schools in Sharjah, besides British curriculums, I was in both. I was in British curriculum, now I'm in American curriculum. In British, yeah, what you're saying is true. They take stuff very seriously and they try to upgrade. But whilst in American curriculums, they don't really do that.
It's still a bit dated.
Yeah, very dated, very, very dated, whether it's religiously or whether it's cultural based. Like they always follow the education system from 90 years ago. You know what I'm trying to say?
I mean, it has to change.
Yeah.
You know, this whole AI that's coming in, the whole system has to change.
Of course.
Yeah, in my son's school, they do, which I really like this, they do a little thing called the Makers Market. So
Makers Market,
what
okay.
they do with they do it with the year 5s and the year 6s. They do, they have a topic called dice. And what they do in the Makers Market, all the children go into groups and then they think of, there's a particular topic. So it might be, I don't know, saving the planet from plastic waste or whatever. And then they have to develop a project, something that will combat this issue in the market right now, in the world right now. And then they have these little makers markets where they make products and then they can sell them. So they're all there together, these year 6s, the entire year 6 group. And they all have their own little stalls and their products. And then the public, the parents, all the other kids, they come in and they go to their stall and they negotiate and they're doing deals and they're selling.
Yeah, we do that something similar to that in my
Okay.
school. I mean, for example, we have something called Business Day.
Okay.
Yeah, so where you kind of get a stand free of charge. You get a stand and then you sell whatever products you want after getting approved or whatever. So I think that's also a good start. But at the same time, people take that as an advantage to just have fun and take a day off education and school. And that's how my community thinks. You know, they take it as a free day. They don't take that very seriously. So sometimes there are opportunities given to us, but we just throw them away. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't think maybe at that age you don't really see the value in these lessons. Later on, you look back and you think, okay, that lesson of standing on that market stall and selling
trying to convince
things,
something for someone to buy it from you. Yeah.
Exactly, and that negotiation that helped to raise my confidence. And I see this a lot with some of the kidpreneurs that we work with. Children that have gone into entrepreneurship, very, very shy, very, very timid. They're working on their projects. They're talking to people about what they're doing. And without them even being aware of it, their confidence suddenly becomes 10 times better just from working on something that they feel passionate about. So when we're talking about you and your business, what top 3 things do you think that have benefited you by running your own business?
It's freedom of speech.
Okay.
Yeah, it helps me in that because back then, before I started my business, I was very sort of like the odd one out when it comes to everything, whether it's friend groups, whether it's meetings, whether it's events, doesn't matter what it is. I was always the odd one out because I always had something to speak against someone if what they're doing was wrong. I'm always like that. I don't cover
You like justice.
Yes, I like justice. And I like saying it out loud. I don't hide it. I'd be a very good lawyer, but I'm just too lazy to open a book and read.
To study law.
Yeah, I don't
You're
like...
definitely not lazy if you're running 3 businesses and 2 more in the
lazy to read a book
pipeline.
that much and study that hard, you know. But I'd love, speaking out. So that's what helped me in business, which is speaking out, going to meetings, speaking and presenting. Yeah, at the same time, I'm a public speaker. So even whenever it comes to whether it's school events or outside school, I'm always speaking out loud and I always attack subjects that need to be spoken out loud.
Great.
That's how it helped me. And number 2, what's helped me in business.
How do you think you've changed?
It grew me closer to my parents because now it's not a father and son or not father and mother type of thing, a son and mother type of thing. It's now sort of business partners, although none of my parents are actually inside Valor in any way. They just help out whenever they can.
Well, that's unconditional love.
Yeah, that's just love. So it just got me closer to them so that I can get to speak to them even more because I'm in my room most of the time in my office because I have a tiny office in my house.
Right.
So I'm always there. If I'm not there, I'm either in a shoot, I'm either at work, or I'm either in a meeting. So it's always very rare for me to get a chance to talk with them. But lately, when I had struggles or when I got scammed multiple times, when I had a lot of problems, I get closer and I get closer. That's what helped me in business, to get closer with my family. Yeah.
I really love that.
Yeah.
I talk about that actually a lot, that you don't understand as a parent when you get your kids involved in this, creating a project or business, suddenly the whole family. There's one little boy that we work with.
Sorry.
What happened?
Mean. Okay.
You okay?
Nice, yeah. He just has to make a call.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's okay, go outside.
حاسبة.
We can cut that bit, don't worry. So there's one, are you okay?
Yeah.
There's one boy that we work with, he's 10, he's called Connor Maxwell, and he runs a business called Flip Fingerboards. They're the little finger skateboards.
Yeah, the skateboards. Yeah. I saw
Right.
you tagged something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's developed his own business and he's been running that now for the last couple of years.
Wow.
And it's really interesting. When he
I'd
first
love
got,
to meet you, Connor.
we'll introduce you guys.
I'd
We'll
love
get you
to.
together. And when he first started his business, he was painfully shy. But over the process of being in business, his confidence has really grown. He does the Times Square markets. He's selling his
Wow.
products there. But what I really like about their story is that, so he's the founder of the company. His dad is his chief financial officer, so he handles all the finances. His mum is in charge of marketing and social media. His sister's in charge of graphic design.
The whole
and his,
family's in the business.
and his
yeah.
brother's in charge of sourcing products. So they all sit together over the dinner table, they're brainstorming ideas, they go to Times Square together, they work the weekend. It's just really beautiful seeing how, and that's just one story of many of these kidpreneurs that are all involved in the family. So
It's right. I mean, but in my family, it's different, sort of different. They're not into business. So when they help out personal sides.
great.
You know, for example, if I'm stressed, they help me out with that. Social anxiety, something similar to that. But the third thing that actually helped me or business helped me in my personal life is my religious life, my spiritual life.
Okay.
Finding a lot of struggles get you closer to God. People say otherwise. People say the opposite, that when you get struggled, you get pulled away. In my case, I got closer. You know, I'm a strict Christian. So based on what happens in my life, I always take a step with God. You know,
That's beautiful.
yeah. So
and
it
that
keeps
gives
me
you
get
that
closer.
faith and that
Yeah,
resilience to keep going.
exactly. Yeah.
What beautiful answers. Okay, now before we go, I do have some questions for my kidpreneurs because I
love
did post that you were coming in today.
Yeah.
So a few of our kids that we work with, they wanted to ask you some personal questions.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to jump into these questions now. So the
No
first one is from Gabby. She's 11 years old. And she wants to know, if you could time travel 10 years into the future, what other businesses would you have developed by then? So this is 10 years from now.
Okay. So what's her name? Sorry.
Gabby.
Gabby. All right, Gabby. So one thing that I've always wanted to do with Valor is actually start an automobile business, a car business. So I've always, if I was to jump 10 years into the future, I'd love to meet my future self in one of my own cars, ones that I've all made.
So what, you would be developing and designing
Yeah,
cars
yeah,
and selling cars?
A company that makes its own branded cars, you know, like Toyota, BMW, but luxurious type
okay.
of cars. Yeah.
Some luxurious electrical flying car.
Not electrical.
Not electrical?
Not electrical.
Okay,
no.
okay. But something very futuristic.
Yeah,
Well,
futuristic.
I mean, 10 years, who
10
knows?
years, yeah, of course.
It'll be connected to your voice. You'll say, come here now.
Of course, yeah,
Car
something
will
like that.
pump up the
Very,
drive.
very much advanced. At the same time, it's something that Valor created.
Okay.
Yeah.
Valor cars.
Something, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Valor
Valor
automobiles.
engines. Yeah.
Valor engines.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, perfect.
We have the branding ready.
Okay, let's go. So the next one is from Kai, and he's also 16, same age as you. And he wants to know, if you could team up with any celeb or brand for your business, who would it be and why?
Vogue magazine.
Okay.
Yeah. I've always found them fond because when they pick someone to put on their magazines, it's very hard. So going on such magazines and collaborating with such people, it's gonna be a huge success when it comes to my autobiography. You get what I'm trying to say.
So if there's any Vogue connections out there, then shoot us a call and we will introduce you.
I'd love to. And I've actually made my research back 3 years ago when I was 13. I was back then Dubai's youngest entrepreneur back then. So that would be something very cool if we would bring it back as well. You know?
Well, now you could be Dubai's youngest serial entrepreneur.
Serial?
Serial means multiple.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
Multiple. You've
Yeah.
had multiple businesses.
Multiple,
You're a
yeah.
serial entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, we like that.
I'd
So
love
Vogue,
to.
reach out. Next one. This is from Logan, who's 10.
Okay, Logan.
What's the coolest part about being an entrepreneur?
It's making my parents proud when it comes to suddenly paying their bills when they're not even no. I mean, um, before this podcast ends, actually after this, I'm going to pay the Wi-Fi bill for my house. Yeah,
Oh,
and they don't know that. So that's something very. Well, my mom knows that because I obviously need her card or whatever. But I want to surprise my dad with that
that's
because
so
yeah,
cute.
so
I
that's
love
something I'm
that.
planning
So
to.
my kids, if you're listening, go and pay the Wi-Fi bill.
Don't stress about it though. That is only if you
No
can.
stress about it. Go to
Yeah.
work. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's what I like about what I do. I get to help my parents out.
It's that feeling, isn't it, of
Yeah,
giving
yeah.
back and
It's like, yeah, see that I told you it would work. Yeah, that sort of thing. Because
yeah.
my dad thinks those meetings or events I go to, he thinks that sometimes they don't come with a good outcome. And I always tell him, no matter if I came out with a profitable outcome, I would always come out with a good outcome, which is connections, networking.
And also lessons learned.
Exactly.
So every meeting that you do, you're improving to get better for next time. And as you said, we always say with sales, don't sell to the person in front of you. Sell to their network because you don't know who knows who.
Exactly.
So as long as you're making those connections, presenting yourself in a good way, then who's telling where that will go?
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to do. I keep convincing my parents that say I can do it. And proving it to them is the best part of it.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
I need to meet your mum as well. She's done a
Thank
very
you.
good job raising you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
last question. This is from Haya, age 12. What's the weirdest idea you've ever had for your business?
My current business or a business I'm about to start?
Any businesses? Oh, the weirdest one that you've had.
A weird idea for a business? Cat food.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird. It was funny. I have 2 cats.
Did you develop this?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just a weird idea. Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay.
It's so we have 2 cats and we always buy them food and we've always heard that the food that they're eating isn't healthy for them. So I was like, why not make Valor cat food, like pet food? Why not? Valor pets.
It's a good idea. Actually, there are some companies here in Dubai that produce real food. So vegetables, it's got vegetables, fruits, it's got raw meat in, all the things that's nutritional for the
Healthy,
pet.
yeah.
Yeah, healthy. They put some rice in there. So it actually went, and I've ordered this food because we've got 2 dogs.
Oh, okay.
And when this food comes and you open, you think, well, I mean, I'd be quite okay to have that for my own dinner. If I'm starving, I wouldn't say no. So there are companies out there that do this healthy, nutritious.
That was
dog
just a
food,
weird
but
idea.
I've
that
never
jumped
seen
off.
it for cats, though. I've only seen it for dogs. So that could be the next big shot. Who
Maybe.
knows?
Who knows?
Wow, it's been amazing to meet you. Now, if people want to reach out to you and they want to connect and know more about your businesses, how can they do that?
I mean, I'm trying to turn my Instagram page into a professional page because at the same time I'm 16, so sometimes I post stuff that are not business related, which is why I made a private account now. So if anyone needs anything, so my Instagram, the name is actually has a funny story. Big Man Vimto. Before I just recently lost weight. I was 90 kilos and now I'm 80.
Wow.
80, yeah, 80. Yeah, so I
Okay,
just
good
lost.
for you.
Yeah.
How? What was that process?
Just gym and diet.
Okay,
It's
good.
the
Eating
normal.
healthy, working
Yeah,
out.
that's it. Nothing too out of the ordinary.
Good for you.
So the name Big Man was actually a word that was used in my old school when they were used to make fun of me.
Okay.
Big man, because I always wanted to not for the weight, for me trying to open a business. Oh, you're a big man now and everything. So it was always a term used to make fun of me. But I took it very positively. I'm like, okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, of
There's nothing
course.
shameful for being a big man when it comes, if your intention is like business side. So I always kept it. And Vimto is actually the reason. My name is Vrimo, Vrimo, Vrimo. And people find it very hard to pronounce the name. So sometimes
So you changed it to Vimto.
I just switched it to Vimto because a lot of people actually misheard it to Vimto.
I wondered where that came from because Vimto is a drink in the
Yeah,
UK.
yeah. I love that
It's a
drink.
blueberry drink.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
love
used
that
to drink
drink.
it as a child.
I love that
so
drink.
when I saw Vimto, I thought, I wonder where. I was going to ask you where that came from.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my childhood drink. I love that drink.
Yeah, you and me, but it's not very healthy. But maybe that can be a business idea.
Maybe.
Create a healthy version of Vimto.
Exactly. Yeah. Just fruit drinks, blueberry drinks.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's
so
how
they
my
can
name
find
came.
you on your Instagram. You've also got the podcast going. You've got pages for each of the brands, which we'll list underneath the video
Oh, thank
too.
you.
And what a pleasure to meet you.
It was an honor. I'm very happy you got me here. I mean, I've been waiting for a long time. We rescheduled multiple times, but I'm very glad we finally did this.
I'm delighted. I cannot wait to see where your brand goes, where you go. I can't wait to wear all of your attire for the
Thank
Gladiator
you. I'm very
Summit.
happy you
Look,
wore
see, it
that.
looks perfect, and it goes with the shirt. So I'm with the blouse, the jacket. So very, very happy to have
Thank
you
you very
here.
much.
It's a pleasure. Just
Me too.
keep shining, keep being amazing. Of course, life is full of challenges, business
Yeah.
is full of challenges, but you're doing amazing. It's, you know, trailblazers like you, leaders like you that are going to be the next generation. So
Thank you very
I
much.
honor you. I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to see where this journey
Thank you very much.
unfolds.
It's people like you who actually keep me motivated. Yeah.
You give me goosebumps. You're an amazing young man, really.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. What a wonderful, insightful conversation. I love meeting young people like this and honor them so much for going out there into this big wide world, this arena of life, and creating amazing things. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you got as much from this as I did, and we hope to see you again in the arena soon.